Hey friends, it's Tracy. I am back again with more Christmas in July crafts to share with you. My flip-flop Santa, my cheesy Christmas lights, and my upbeat beach music is back again to share some of my Christmas crafts with you. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started, and I will share what I have for you. For this project, I'm using an 8x10 frame that I got from Walmart. Now, it kind of looks like it's a wood grain to it, and but it's plastic, and that's what I liked about that. So once I removed the backing, I'm going to actually be using the glass as well as the back for my project. I'm going to be popping up my project, giving it a bit of dimension. So I'm going to be using that glass to my advantage as well. So what I did is I just glued the glass to the back of the backing of the photo frame, just using some glue. I put that to the side, and then I'm going to do some dry brushing just using my Waverly Antique Plaster Color and a stencil brush. I am just going to be dry brushing a little bit of that just to give it some character to the wood frame. For my design, I'm going to, bring this back over. Then I'm going to add some homespun fabric on here. Now, homespun is a fabric that you can see the same design on both sides. And so if you like this particular one, I'm not quite sure. I had it on hand. Not quite sure where I got it from, but Hobby Lobby is a great place to find homespun fabric, or JubileeFabric.com has tons of patterns and designs and that kind of thing. And so I always advocate for them because they have a huge variety of homespun fabric. All right, maybe Walmart too, but I'm not quite sure if they have this particular check, but you could definitely check your Walmarts, what they have. All right, so what I did is I just took my Elmer's glue stick and then just added the backing of, just added it there to the frame. And then I'm going to add some coffee grunge and some cinnamon because I wanted a primitive country project, and so I just add some Mod Podge here just with a brush and just kind of put that on there like that. I didn't do too much all the way because I wasn't quite sure how I was going to continue finishing this project. Later I go back and add a little bit more of this coffee grunge and cinnamon to the bottom of it, but you'll see that closer to the end of the video. So what I did is I just took some instant coffee that I got at my local grocery store and then just added it to the Mod Podge, just spreading it out with my fingers. And yes, that gets really messy. I probably should have used gloves, but I didn't think about it at that time, but I'm like, dang it. Because the Mod Podge just makes it sticky, and so then everything that you touch gets a little sticky too. So and then I'm taking just some cinnamon that I got at the store and just kind of spreading that around as well. Then now I'm like, remember, use your gloves, silly. So then I put my glove on. I just got these at my local grocery store too, in the medical, like the pharmacy section. I just got some plastic gloves and then just spread that around. It just smells so divine. And guys, what I did when I created this project, I just had it during the season. I had it in my bathroom, and it just really made my bathroom smell just so spicy. And I don't like to drink coffee, but I do like the smell of it. So I did add a bit of the coffee and cinnamon grunge to the frame also, just to tie it all in together. These small wooden Nativity Holy Family silhouettes are from Hobby Lobby. And what I did is I used my antique wax to give a little bit of stain to the Nativity. So then here what I'm showing you, I wanted to have a shadow for my Nativity. So I'm using a piece of this cardstock that I got out of this book. I think I got this from Walmart, and using that for a silhouette. So what I did, I took the Nativity wood piece and just tacked it down there on that black cardstock. And then I'm going to take my friction pins. These are just pins that I've got off of Amazon, and they have invisible ink. And so I've just been using these in my crafting, and it works really good. And so I just kind of roughly draw a shadow around that nativity, because it's just to give me kind of a guide when I'm going to, rip off the paper and expose that white core. So I tear off a little bit of it so that I could have a smaller section to work with. And then I start ripping around it. And basically what I'm doing is just adding a shadow around my centerpiece. And as I'm tearing it, it exposes the white core. So I really like the way that the background of the white, once the core, exposes that core, it kind of pulls out some of the color that's in the background of the homespun fabric. And then I also took a Posca PC1M pen. Those are also listed in my Amazon shop. They're paint markers, and I just hand lettered "A Savior is Born." And so then here what I'm doing, I'm taking some Silly Winks. It's kind of like fun foam, and I like it. It's a little bit thicker. I get it at Hobby Lobby in the like felt section, pom-poms, that kind of thing. They have different colors. And what I'm going to do is pop up that Nativity and the Savior is Born banner so that it gives a little dimension. So what I did is I took my background and put it into the frame, and then I'm going to start positioning the fun foam on the back of my, the highlight of my picture, and just adding those pop dots to the back of that just to give it some dimension so that everything sticks up. For the "A Savior is Born," the banner that goes on the top, I'm just going to kind of bend that to wrinkle it up a bit. I just like that for my projects, just to give a little bit of interest to the banners and give it a little bit more distressing. And so like I said, I just tore it around as well just to expose a bit of that core. Then I'm going to use some of that Pop Dot Silly Winks. I love this stuff so much. It just is already the color that I need, and so it's perfect for adding some dimension to my projects. I also like to use some tumbling tower blocks that I get from the Dollar Tree. It just really depends on what project I'm doing, if I use the fun foam Silly Winks or if I use the wood tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. So for the bow, what I'm using right here is cheesecloth. Now I found the cheesecloth, this particular one I found, it was white. I found it in the canning section at Walmart. And so then I put it into some coffee. I had just made me like a little mixture of water and coffee, and then just soaked my cheesecloth for I don't know how long, and then I laid it out to dry, and then it has this grungy look to it. And so then I have just some different fabrics. This brown fabric I think I bought at Walmart like as a fat quarter, and so just ripped that strips of that. I also have some of this homespun fabric, kind of tying that in there as well so that the whole bow ties in with the actual project as well. And so this muslin fabric is probably something I got at one of the craft stores, probably Hobby Lobby, but you can get muslin fabric anywhere. And so I just kind of just tie them off. What I'm doing is just making a strips, and then I just tie them off in the middle. I'm going to make a small whimsical bow with that jute cording that I like to use. It's jewelry cording or hemp cording, whichever one chooses to call it. I think it really just adds a little bit of whimsy to kind of breaks up the bow as well. And then I'll just tack it there at the top of my frame just to, make everything look really nice and tie it all together. Okay, I decided to add more Mod Podge and grunge, coffee grunge down here at the bottom. It kind of looked a little off on this particular, decor. So I'm just adding a little bit more Mod Podge. Then I'll go back and add some of that instant coffee as well as the cinnamon, just kind of using some gloves so that my fingers don't get so messy, and just kind of pushing that coffee in there, and that it kind of like melts into the fabric. And so I just love primitive country crafts like this. Again, I was just sharing for ideas, so please, take it and change it to your decor, your preference, something that you like. And I just so appreciate so many friends joining me and recreating, putting their own spin on the ideas that, me and the Lord come up with, because without Him, I would not be doing this. I get my Excelsior from Hobby Lobby. And so I just take a few sprigs of that and just add it there at the bottom. I didn't want it to be overbearing, but I wanted it to, be enough so that it kind of had the whimsiness of it. I also decided to add some behind the "A Savior is Born" sign. And so, sometimes less is more, but also I love my whimsical touches. I also decided to add just a little bit of touch of pizzazz by just adding some glitter. And so I'm just using my spray adhesive, just lightly spraying it, not to anything too heavy, and then using the diamond glitter from Hobby Lobby. And so I just kind of sprinkle that on. And then later I also go back and add a little bit of glitter to the sign, and as well as to the stable, and the Nativity as well. And so, sometimes when I'm creating, it just kind of comes to me as I don't really have a plan, I guess. Just I kind of create as I go along. For this project, I'm going to make a little ornament shelf sitter. I'm starting with 2 of these tumbling tower blocks and 1 of these small tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. So I'm using a few wooden beads as well as just a wood plug for to make the faces or the heads. Using antique wax just to give it the stain that I like to do. And so I had my husband cut off 1 of those blocks so that, Mary would be just a little bit shorter. So I'm using my favorite way of just putting the antique wax on to stain my wood. I'm just using a baby wipe. Y'all have seen me do this on other projects. And then for this is going to be what I'm going to be including the stand. This is going to be where I write or have my tag, "A Savior is Born." And I just gave that a coat of plaster color chalk paint. So then now I'm going to start assembling my small little Holy Family. And then this is going to be the what I'm going to be putting on Mary's head. It's just a piece of gingham fabric that I had on hand. And then I this is the little burlap that I'm going to be using for little baby Jesus. Going to be tying some sisal twine around that. I got that sisal twine at Hobby Lobby. And so then I glue the wood, the wood balls on the head, and then I had the little plug that I have here for baby Jesus and just wrapped a small piece of burlap around that. Then for the gingham, I'll just add that to the top of Mary's head, and then add a piece of brown fabric to Joseph's head, and then I'll glue everything together. For the tag, I have a piece of craft colored cardstock, and then I just tattered up the edges just by ripping it, and then hand lettered "A Savior is Born." I added just some of my happy dots. Now, I want to mention that this is not my original idea. I was very inspired by different ones that I saw on Pinterest. So I will link to the pin that inspired me to create this in the description box below. For my next project, I am making this "Oh Holy Night" sign. I just think it is has such a statement and it's just so cute. So what I'm using is a frame. I picked this up from a thrift store, but you can get these kind of frames anywhere. I'm also using these letter tiles or like Scrabble tiles. For my background, I'm going to use this ribbon that I've had on hand for quite a while. I had got it at Hobby Lobby on sale. I'm also using a rusty star that I got from Hobby Lobby as well. But they're in my Amazon store are rusty stars if you can't find any like that. Okay, so the first thing I did, I wanted to distress this a bit more, so I'm just doing that using my antique wax and a stencil brush. And then I'm going to trim out the ribbon just to fit on the back of with the frame, like the cardboard backing. So I just trimmed that out and I attached it with my Fabri-Tac glue just to keep everything down. And I chose this ribbon because it was dark. It's like a very, very dark navy, and it has like almost a wool texture to it. I'm not quite sure if it's still available, but I just love it so much for this piece. And so I just put it back in the frame there, and then I'm going to measure out how to, how I want to lay everything out. And so I, try to figure out how I want to lay it out for the frame so that, it's all nice. So I put down my star first, and then I'm just going to lay out my word tiles, or the spell out the words that I want. Like I said, I got these from Walmart. And a tip that I've learned, that they're blank on the back, so if you don't have a letter, you can always write the letter you need on the back of a letter that you don't use. And so, like, for the trunk of the tree, I'm using a Z, because a lot of the words that I spell out, I don't need a Z. Anyway, so that's just a tip for you. So I had just laid all of the letter tiles out first, and then now I'm just going back and hot gluing everything so that, everything is secure. Okay, guys, here are more videos for you to watch in this Christmas in July series, as well as other videos that I have on my channel. If you click on my little picture, that will allow you to subscribe to my channel, and we can become great friends. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next video.